if you try and rip the world apart, someone will always put it back together.
Hey, this is Matt from GamesRadar, and we're here today to talk about Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Phil from PC Gamer has been playing it. Phil?
Hello.
I think it's fair to say this one wasn't sort of really high on the hype radar. There was like a little sort of bubbling undercurrent of people being quite excited about it, but doesn't seem to have gone over the top.
Yeah, Deus Ex occupies a sort of strange position where it's beloved by a lot of people, but a lot of those people were probably quite burned out by things like Invisible War, the sequel, and also may not appreciate like some of the streamlining that Human Revolution did. But I think it's worth bearing in mind, like Deus Ex Human Revolution was like a really strong reinvention of the series, a really good way to bring it to modern audiences. And so I think if you enjoyed that, there is a lot of reason to look forward to Mankind Divided, even if it's sort of dwarfed by things like Dishonored 2, which I think picks up a lot more hype.
Yeah. So in terms of like where it falls compared to kind of earlier Deus Ex games and what we kind of experienced from Human Revolution, does it have that same sense of kind of complete openness? Is it more open than Human Revolution? Or
I don't know if it's more open. Like it is very much in the same vein, which is like you on a systems level, you know, you're in charge of deciding what your character should be, like what path you want to take. And like broadly that means, do you want to be stealthy or do you want to go in sort of guns blazing, which is actually quite a hard option because of how weak you can be, but there are ways to mitigate that through the upgrade paths that you have. And also, do you want to be non-lethal? Do you not mind killing a whole bunch of people for spurious reasons? And but within that there are other things like, you know, hacking is a big thing if you want to take part of it. Like, it'll let you into doors, it'll let you read people's emails and find secrets, or you can just use your powers to navigate spaces more, like lifting heavy objects to uncover crates to make your way through the kind of walls and back panels of
inevitable
buildings.
Vents.
Yeah,
Jensen
there are
vents.
so many man-sized vents, just big enough.
So you're still getting the sense of like every single kind of scenario that you're going to encounter, there are multiple ways of solving it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'd say the scope of Mankind Divided does feel slightly different to Human Revolution. Like previous Deus Exes often feel like these kind of globe-spanning adventures. I mean, the original was sort of New York, and then you go to China, and then you go to... And Human Revolution mirrored that a bit. There's Detroit, but also Hengsha was like these two main city hubs, and within that there were sort of levels around it in different places. Mankind Divided sort of draws it in a bit. The majority of the action takes place in this huge city hub in Prague, and it's much bigger than Detroit or Hengsha were from Human Revolution, but at the same time, like, you do sort of miss out on seeing other bits of the world. You learn a lot about the world through like character dialogue and through like ebooks that you find and emails that you read, but you don't see much of it, and that's quite different and to an extent a little bit disappointing, just because it's nice to see that art team have a take on like Hengsha in Human Revolution, which was like they built an entire city on top of the city, and you were exploring the underground and like how bad it was for the people there, and then you took an elevator to the top and saw this sort of beautiful expanse as you saw the upper city, and that was great, and it's great to see that sort of stuff. But what you gain from what Mankind Divided does is the scale and the detail of Prague, which is something they haven't quite done this way before. One of the neat things is like you'll do a mission, you'll do a bunch of stuff in Prague, and you'll do a load of side quests, you'll do a couple of main missions there, and then you'll go off to another location, and then you'll come back, and Prague will be different. Like, it'll be a different time of day, and things will have changed, and there'll be new missions. So it does feel like you get a really good, deep, broad look at this one place. It's a different way of doing things. I'm not sure if it's necessarily better, but it is still, it holds your attention throughout.
Okay, I mean, in terms of sort of the way the city looks and how it changes and how you get a sense of story from the city, this is kind of one of the stickier subjects with Mankind Divided.
Yes.
Like the mechanical apartheid thing, like how is it handled, and do you feel that Adam Jensen is actually part of it? Because I think one of the things you said in your review, which is a thing that I got the sense of when I played it as well, is that like he's a bit of an exception.
Yeah, I understand why it's there, and I understand what they're trying to do. I mean, partially it's there because, you know, good science fiction does try and hold a mirror to real life. Like, that's just a staple of the genre. There are like interesting stories that are told within it. Some of it relates to the side quest, and a lot of those are quite well written and have, at least throw up some interesting moral quandaries, even if they're not ever resolved in a way that makes you think, that actually deepens my understanding of anything particularly. But you're right, Jensen isn't part of this, and he can relate to people. Like, he can have dialogue with people where he goes, "Oh, I know how you're feeling. I'm an augmented too. Like, I'm one of you." It's like, wait, no, you're not, because you work for Interpol, mate. Like, you have a special ID that when you hand it to a cop, like if you transgress, if you go onto one of the natural train carriages or through a queue that's for naturals only, they'll stop you and they'll look at your ID papers and they'll get annoyed with you. But the thing that they never quite draw a parallel to is the fact that if you weren't Adam Jensen and you did that, things would have gone a lot worse for you very quickly.
Okay, I mean that feels like a sort of a subject all in itself, and potentially a video or an op-ed digging a bit deeper into it. And this feels completely flippant to go from that to this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. Boss fights. So because we're running short of time, and this is the thing that was probably one of the most sort of open criticisms of Human Revolution, was that the boss fights kind of broke that sense of stealth and kind of made you fight in a particular way. Are they fixed in this?
Yeah. There's an achievement description. The achievement for going through the game without killing anybody actually specifies, unlike Human Revolution, that bosses are people too, and they can be taken down non-lethally. And there's actually only one real boss encounter in the game, and it's much better done. It feels more in keeping with Deus Ex's systems, and it's worth stressing, if we are running out of time, because we've mentioned the story stuff and all the things that don't quite work, that as a set of systems and level design, Mankind Divided really ups its game. Like, it brings back a lot of Human Revolution's powers and it adds new ones to that, and they sort of fit within like the tool set, and they expand it in interesting ways. And a lot of the level design is, some of the best you will encounter in like an immersive sim type game.
Sounds great. So, score?
4.5.
So there you have it, 4.5. Please remember to like and subscribe, and stay tuned to GamesRadar for more news, reviews, features, and previews.